It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 5 films released on November 6, 2009. I don't think I need to tell you what the story of A Christmas Carol is. If you haven't even read The Christmas Carol story by Charles Dickens, or if you've never watched the show before, which I've covered this several times, then I'd like to welcome you back out of that rock you've been hiding in for the last couple of years. But short and simple story of Ebenezer Scrooge as he's being haunted by three spirits in order to uplift his Christmas spirit and basically get him on the right track to his life around. You know, he treats people around him so shamefully, and one night he's visited by his former partner, Jacob Marley, a partner who works with him at the counting house, and he says, "You'll be haunted by three spirits, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future," all played by Carrie in this movie. And the film, of course, uses motion capture animation, same kind that was used in the Polar Express. This is the third time Disney has taken on the Christmas Carol storyline. Mickey's Christmas Carol, The Muppet Christmas Carol. It's the first Carrie film in a Disney movie, and it's also his second Christmas movie after How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And, of course, Robert Zemeckis also gave us The Polar Express, which was also a big holiday hit in the decade. One of the few holiday hits we had in this decade. So yeah, this is overall pretty much the same basic story of A Christmas Carol instead of following the previous adaptations in the last 30 years. This one basically follows the original story, which kind of surprised me when I heard that it was actually written as kind of a horror story, which is really what you need going into this movie. This movie can get pretty intense at times. I mean, there's definitely moments in here that are just so creepy in here. I mean, yeah, it's definitely one where, yeah, that PG rating that this has, there's definitely a reason why that PG rating is there. It's just like, don't expect to go in there looking for a cheerful, happy movie. No, be prepared for something that's a little bit more intense than you think it is, because it definitely is a more intense movie. I mean, there's times in this movie that will have you jumping out of your seats, but it will creep you the fuck out. I mean, one scene in particular that's still kind of haunts me a little bit to this very day is like when the ghost of Christmas Future comes, and he's a shadow throughout much of it, and sitting in a movie theater watching it in 3D, he's riding, as you see the ghost riding around in like a shadow. You see it's basically a shadow of a horse carriage, and it looks like a normal shadow, but then the horse, like, it's looking this way at first, but then it slowly comes right at you. Like, it's a 3D movie, so it's literally looking at you. I was pushed back in my seat the first time I saw it. It's just like, holy shit. Like stuff like that. Of course, the scene where the ghost of Christmas Present dies is pretty traumatic, too. I mean, this thing is not playing it straight, but playing it safe by any means necessary. And that's what I kind of love about this movie, is that it doesn't go for the sweet, simple storyline here. It goes for a little bit more of a closer feel to the adaptation to the original book overall. And for that, I got to give it a lot of points for that. I really love this one. This is probably one of my favorite versions of A Christmas Carol. I mean, you got Robert Zemeckis, one of my all-time favorite directors, doing this. Doing a very good job overall. I think Jim Carrey does a very good job as Scrooge and the three ghosts. And the rest of the cast overall is really good. You've got Gary Oldman playing Bob Cratchit here. He's always going to give you somewhat of a good performance. And he's really good in this. I mean, regardless if he's playing it straight or over the top. Because there's times in this movie where he plays different characters. He plays Cratchit, and he also plays Jacob Marley. Cratchit's good. Marley is where he really goes over the top with it. And it's supposed to be scary, but it really is not. It really comes off as like, what are you doing? Like the whole thing with him with his elongated jaw, and he's just like, mankind was my business. Like, that type of stuff gets on your nerves pretty quickly. And it's just like, you didn't need to do that. Bob Hoskins is very good in here, playing Fezziwig. Colin Firth, Robert I. Penn, they're pretty good in here too. But really, it's Jim Carrey leading the charge here, and he does a really good job of handling that. I thought the motion capture overall was really good. I think it's definitely a lot better than it was at Beowulf. And, this was probably the last good time that the motion capture really comes to play here. Because following that, we'd have Mars Needs Moms, which was the film that literally killed this company of Image Movies Digital before it really got going. I mean, Christmas Carol was really their one shot to show everybody that, hey, this is what the future of animation is going to look like. And then you follow up with Mars Needs Moms, it's just like, okay, never mind. Yeah, we're shutting you down. The biggest argument about motion capture animation is that the whole purpose is to give an animated character a performance of a real-life actor. well, if that's the case, then why not just do it with with real live actors? I mean, you could still have Carrie as Scrooge and the Three Ghosts and still make a live action movie. I mean, Night at the Museum of 3 came out about 5 years after that, and they had a scene where Ben Stiller's not only playing Larry Daly, but he's playing one of the cavemen who thinks he's his father, and that's something that you could do in a movie like that. But it's something you can do in a movie like this as well. But I mean, I was glad to see that Robert Zemeckis did get back to live action form after that with A Flight and The Walk, which I thought were really good movies overall. And again, the story overall is really well done. You could see that they're trying to follow Dickens' original concept for the story, which is supposed to be his ghost story, something you rarely see in the adaptations. I mean, there are creepy elements, and they really are. The departure of Ghost of the Christmas Present, the stuff with the Ghost of Christmas Future. I mean, this is definitely stuff you wouldn't expect to see in a Disney version of this. Maybe in the more adult versions, but not for Disney. And I like the fact that Disney went dark when they needed to, but at the same time, it does go a little bit too far, but never to the point where I would say that it ruins the film overall. But the film overall is really good, and seeing it in 3D was really great to see. Like, there's a great part where the Ghost of Christmas Present takes Scrooge out of his home, and he's lifting the floor that they're in, and it literally feels like you're on somewhat of a ride, because you go from the house to an overview shot of the city of London, and it's really well done. Like, in 3D, you feel like you're there. You feel like you're right there as it happens, and that... You got to give the movie its proper credit overall for that. But not only that, though, it does have some good emotional moments. I think the one that everyone really talks about with this movie is the part where, during the Ghost of Christmas Future segment, of course, Tiny Tim has to die in that part. And there's a part where Bob Cratchit is trying to keep it together in front of his family, which he does. But then as soon as he gets upstairs, not knowing that Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Present are right there, and Scrooge is just like literally standing right in front of Bob Cratchit, and you just look at Cratchit, he's completely, like, he's been crying, and it makes sense, because that's his son is dead, and he's just looking straight at Scrooge, and Scrooge can't go anywhere else. He has to look at what his actions have done to this guy and his kid, and it's just like, stuff like that really makes this one hold up more, because that's just such a great scene. Doesn't have to use any dialogue. It's just one single scene, 2 shots. One of Cratchit looking straight at Scrooge, the other Scrooge looking straight at Cratchit. Scrooge has nowhere to go. He just has to look at this. I mean, that right there, stuff like that makes this movie worth it. It's not the best adaptation of the story. I think Scrooge and Mickey's Christmas Carol are better retellings of the story, but this is still a really good movie. It is one of the stronger adaptations of my favorite story of all time. The performances are great, the visuals are nicely done, the animation is great, and the story recaptures Dickens' original version of the story to a T. It's a really good adaptation of the tale, and I think it deserves a lot more attention. It's one I watch every Christmas. It's a great, great adaptation. It's probably my favorite overall Christmas movie of this decade. Now, I know Elf and the Polar Express are much more beloved, as well as The Grinch, but this is the one I always go back to. Like, every holiday season, I have to watch this at least once. So, yeah, I really like this one a lot. Disney's A Christmas Carol, so... With that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is The Men Who Stare at Goats. My God, what a bizarre movie this is, but that's part of the charm and the fun of the movie, man. This is one that does not get enough attention. It kind of came and went when it came out in theaters, but I really dug the hell out of this movie from the beginning, and watching it again, I still kind of enjoyed the hell out of it. You have a story that follows a reporter played by Ewan McGregor who stumbles onto a special force operator played by George Clooney after flying to Kuwait out of anger due to a recent divorce with his wife, who then proceeds to marry Bob's editor. Lynn reveals that he was part of an American Army unit training psychic spies, or Jedi Knights, if you will, trained to develop a range of parapsychological skills, including invisibility, remote viewing, cloud bursting, walking through walls, and intuition. The leader of the unit is Bill Janko, played by Jeff Bridges, who travels across America in the 1970s for 6 years, exploring a range of New Age movements, including the Human Potential Movement, and used those experiences to find the 1st Earth Battalion. In the 1980s, 2 of Django's best recruits were Len Cassidy and Larry Hooper, played by Kevin Spacey, developing a lifelong rivalry because of their opposing views of how to implement the 1st Earth philosophy. Lynn wanted to emphasize the positive side of the teachings, whereas Larry was more interested in the dark side of the philosophy by stopping goats' hearts telepathically. As you see in the trailer there, they do literally kill goats in this. I mean, that title is not just a quirky title. That's something that actually happens in the movie. And I was watching it. I was watching this trailer originally thinking it was going to go two ways. It could be silly. It's hilarious, or the stuff I see is not meant to be silly and take it seriously, and it could turn into something like Man of the Year, where it's promoted as a comedy, and in the middle, it turns into this bizarre political drama, and it does not do that. This one, it is a lot more of the first half of that. It is a very silly movie, and you know, it's a little bit technically up my second thought too. It doesn't go quite as dark or dramatic as the Man of the Year does, but there are times when it does get serious in several parts, but it doesn't hurt the overall film. This is a really good movie, and I think it benefits from the four leads. McGregor, Clooney, Bridges, Spacey, they're all working off each other so well. They're terrific actors. There's a lot of funny moments in this movie. I mean, it's a really, really entertaining movie, and one that, like I said, kind of came and went when it came out. It was a minor hit when it came out, but a year after it came out, it was largely forgotten for reasons that are beyond me. This is directed by Grant Heslov, who is a longtime producing partner of George Clooney. It was his first movie he ever directed, and it's not a bad directorial effort, but more importantly, this is written by Peter Strahan, who just won the Oscar this past March for writing the script for Conclave. I mean, this is a really good team behind this movie, and I think the reason why this film kind of got overlooked was, well, let's be honest, the title. I mean, you look at a title like The Men Who Stare at Goats, any normal person is going to look at that and go like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go ahead and check this one out. But you really got to go into it knowing what you're going to go into, and it really is a silly, fun movie that does go dark with a little bit, but never to the point where it completely ruins the ebb and flow of the film. It's still a really good movie, and one that deserves a lot more attention. It's a really good film. I highly recommend checking it out. It's probably one of Overture Films' best movies in general, when I really think about it. But, yeah, that's The Men Who Stare at Goats. So let's go ahead and get to some pretty crappy movies now. Let's go ahead and move on to easily the worst movie of this week, Milla Jovovich. And, hey, Paranormal Activity had just come out a couple weeks ago, but you think Universal would have seen the success of that and say, maybe we ought to reconsider putting this out around this time. But no. Someone said no. I mean, that Paranormal Activity, that's a fad. It's going to come and go. Wait until they see our shit with The Fourth Kind. Yeah, it's going to be extremely disturbing, but it certainly isn't going to be scary. I mean, first problem with this movie right here, if you have to have the actress who's playing the character in this come out and tell you what you're about to see is a dramatization of what's going on here, and everything in here is going to be really disturbing, and the whole thing is supposed to be the movie is actually real, but this is just reenactment. So it's just like, you've already lost the audience here. And what do you expect anything more from the same director that just gave us Star Trek Section 31 this year, a contender for one of the worst movies of the year? Would you really be that surprised at all? But this is The Fourth Kind. It's a pseudo-documentary purporting to be a dramatic reenactment of true events that occurred in Nome, Alaska, in which a psychologist uses hypnosis to uncover memories of alien abduction from her patients and find evidence suggesting that she may have been abducted as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of the film, Milla Jovovich informs the audience that the entire movie is actually real, that she will be playing a character based on a real person named Abigail Tyler, and that the film will feature archival footage of the real Tyler. The Abigail Tyler seen in the archival footage is played by Charlotte Milchard, and at various points throughout the film, the archival footage scenes and accompanying dramatic reenactments are presented side by side. That's really fucking stupid. I mean, the whole point of this movie is supposed to be reenactments. This is stuff that you report on the DVD for the behind-the-scenes footage, not in an actual movie like this. And again, let's just get to the elephant in the room. It's nothing but a rip-off of Paranormal Activity, which is a far superior movie, and it didn't insult the intelligence of its audience with that movie by having the actors coming out and saying, what you're about to see is something that we are reenacting, but we are telling you that this actually happened. I mean, it's just like, it's such a terrible, terrible way to promote this movie that even if the studio took Paranormal Activity seriously and said, "Fuck it, we're going to release it anyway." This thing still was a terrible movie. This whole thing got so bad, people actually sued this movie. I mean, this thing got controversy because they had put out these fake news articles that was related to real news outlets out in Alaska, and the Alaskan Press Club sued Universal, and they got a $20,000 settlement because of it. Like, they failed at every single level with this movie. The movie is not engaging, and not only that, you know, we have to, is the scares in here are not interesting. The casting is, the casting overall in here isn't bad, but there's just nothing in here that you could take seriously. And I'm sorry, I know keep saying this, but I don't care. I don't like her as an actress. Mila Jovovich was the worst person to get for this movie. I mean, I'm sorry. She's probably a nice person. I have no reason to believe she's not a nice person in real life. I mean, she's probably a good person overall, but I'm sorry. You suck as an actress, man. I can't take you seriously, no matter what movie you're in. I just don't like you in any single movie that you're in. And certainly not in a movie like this, where, you know, you're trying to play this character here, and it doesn't help that you have a really bad movie behind you, and you're trying to save face for it. And it's just like, I can't do it, man. Like, I'm sorry. I can't do it. This is a terrible movie. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's a lazy ripoff of Paranormal Activity, which, fitting for Universal, that they would have two movies within the span of a month, where two other much more successful movies, Paranormal Activity and the Twilight Saga New Moon, came out. We had Cirque du Freak a couple weeks ago, but at least with Cirque du Freak, that was a much better movie than New Moon. But in this case, Paranormal Activity was much better than The Fourth Kind. This was one of the worst movies of 2009. This was that bad of a movie. It's a lousy film. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's just nothing, man. It's just not a good movie by any means necessary. One of the worst movies of the year, easily. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is James Marsden, Cameron Diaz, and Frank Langella in Richard Kelly's The Box. Now, I could tell you what The Box is all about, or I could show you what's in this box right here. Actually, there's nothing inside of there. So, yeah, I'd be wasting your time anyway. But pointless prop time, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, that's my footrest, by the way. But this is The Box. This is a movie based off of a short story that was adapted into an episode of The Twilight Zone. I thought Stephen King was behind it, but no. It's Richard Matheson who wrote this short story called Button Button. And as I said, it was previously adapted into an episode of The Twilight Zone, and now they've made it into a movie where you have Cameron Diaz and James Marsden as a couple who receive a box from a mysterious man played by Frank Langella, who offers them $1 million if they press the button sealed with the dome on top of the box, but tells them that once the button has been pushed, someone they do not know will die. So it's kind of like Deal or No Deal, except if you hit the button, you get a deal, but you also kill somebody in the process. But is it really going to kill somebody that they don't know? That's the real trick of this whole thing. And there's a good idea for a movie here, and the movie almost makes it work, but in the end, it really fails to really just gives you what you want to see at the end of it. And I think that's really the biggest problem with the movie in general, is that it has a good idea to it, a good hook to it overall. The story overall really is very impressive, but the way it ends just really kind of ruins it for me. It really is just how the climax comes to an end. It's just like, when you see what the big twist is going to be, it's just like, are we really doing this? Is this really what this whole thing was leading up to? Because it really doesn't add up overall. Like, the guy said, Frank Langella says at the beginning, you know, hit this, you'll win $1 million, but you'll also kill somebody that you don't know. So how does this even work overall if it's going to kill somebody that they know? It's just like, but then again, that's the trick of it all. Like, would you trust somebody that looks like Frank Langella that tells you this type of stuff? And yeah, it's tempting to win $1 million and kill somebody that you don't know, but but it's the Rumpelstiltskin thing. Like, how do you know he's not going to trick you once you say yes? I mean, Rumpelstiltskin was smart at tricking people overall, is in the story overall. Well, at least it was in the next Shrek movie that comes out that summer. But coincidentally, Cameron Diaz is in that one. But again, that's for the summertime. But there's a good idea here too. I mean, just the execution and the way it ends overall kind of ruins it. I mean, give Richard Kelly some credit for doing something a little bit more mainstream. It's definitely a movie that I feel like is a lot better than something like Southland Tales. Even though I did like Southland Tales, it was definitely a step down from Donnie Darko. But this is a film that's okay, I guess. I mean, it's not a great movie overall. The third act and the twist really kind of ruins it, and it just really was something where it's just kind of like, I really wanted something good from that third act, but it just kind of ruined a really good movie and kind of just takes it down to just like, it's not bad, but it certainly is a lot worse than it could have been. I mean, it really could have been so much more had they stuck the landing at the end, and they just didn't do it, so yeah. Mostly a mixed opinion, but mostly leaning towards negative because of the way it ended, so. So with that said, let's get to one of this year's. Let's get to our last film here, the biggest Oscar contender of the bunch that actually did go on to win some Oscars. That is Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire. Good thing that trailer completely takes away the true purpose of that movie, in which this young character is being abused and is going through poverty. She's got a kid. She's a teenager. This is a story, but based off of, as I said, the novel Pushed by Sapphire, directed by Lee Daniels, and it follows the story of this young woman played by Gabourey Sidibe in her leading debut as a young woman struggling against poverty and abuse. And the cast, it also includes Paula Patton, Mariah Carey, Sherry Shepherd, Lenny Kravitz, and Monique, who won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for this, who really is a very good actress in this movie. And she shows why she won the Oscar for this, because she was really good in the film. The film overall really is well done. It's a movie that isn't afraid to go dark when it needs to. It's a story that you do get invested in. The casting overall is really good. And this is a Tyler Perry co-produced film, too. I mean, it's a film where his name is at the forefront of it. But it's a really good movie. It's a really engaging film that is really much a film that is very intense. It doesn't play it safe when it needs to, but it really shows the range of everybody in here, and it's not afraid to go dark when it needs to. I mean, Lee Daniels really shows his capabilities as a director with this film, and I think he does a fantastic job with it. It really is a movie that is very hard to sit through, but it gives you what you want to see in a movie like this. This isn't an Oscar bait movie that's being very manipulative on purpose. No, they're giving you a very manipulative just for the sake of being manipulative. No, they're trying to tell a story here, and they're not afraid to go dark when they have to. And it works. It works very much in the film's favor. And it's one you should definitely check out. I mean, it's a really good movie, a really solid cast overall. Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire. One more side note here, I found this kind of hilarious. The film's title was changed from Push to Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire, because it was trying to avoid confusion with the 2009 film Push, the one we saw earlier in the year with Chris Evans in it. So yeah, they had to change the title because they were scared of that Chris Evans movie that really was not that good of a film to begin with. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to wrap this episode up here. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Time About the Movies. And the next time we meet, we take a look at 5 more movies, including Roland Emmerich's latest disaster film, 2012, using the belief that December 21st, 2012 was going to be the end of the world. That was a prophecy that was rumored for the longest time. We have Pirate Radio, a.k.a. The Boat That Rocked. We have a couple of awards contenders with Wes Anderson's first stop-motion animated feature, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Woody Harrelson co-starring alongside, who else was in it? Ben Foster in The Messenger, and we also have Women in Trouble, which is one that I'm definitely looking forward to talking about because, yeah, that's one of those movies where you think it's going to be something, and then it's just not. So we'll take a look at all those films next time around, but thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that playlist, check out the previous episode, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification button, and the bell. We get new videos here every day. You kind of know the rest of this stuff by now. So with all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.